Welcome to A Window of Opportunity, the newest podcast from the BHBN team, as it were. We're the sports team. We bring live commentaries from Birmingham City, Wolverhampton Wanderers, West Bromwich Albion, and of course Aston Villa. And we wanted to just give our fans, our many subscribers now, a chance to, chip in with their thoughts on who might be a credible addition to the team. So I have made some notes because this is the first of its kind for this podcast, the window of opportunity. So I will refer to my notes, and we are going to go round the teams as we always do. And we're going to start with the team that's been attracting the most attention amongst our team today, and that is Aston Villa. Obviously, it's theirs to lose, and Monday, Monday after show listeners will understand that reference. So let's talk about the current team situation. I think just for just to be realistic, we're going to say that the target is that top four finish that they look odds on to get. We know that they've had some PSR restrictions, Aston Villa themselves, but last year they were very savvy in the loan market. And if they're going to push for, you know, maintaining their current form and putting a pot in the cabinet with regards to Europa League, we need to have a think about who they could potentially bring in. So I can see that our resident Villa fan, Ben Ellis, has joined us. So we'll go straight to
Ah,
him. Who do you think is a realistic target for Villa to go after in January? Are there more than one? Which area do you think they should target?
well, if they're serious about launching a challenge, that's the question that uh, needs to be addressed, and it's up to Villa to answer that. What people are saying, people in the know, is that what's hindering Villa in opposition to both Arsenal and Manchester City is that Villa don't have a ready-made player for every position. So if they are realistic about doing that, then that's what they need to do. They don't have the funds to do it. Well, they do have the funds to do it. The system doesn't allow them to do it, and it is also difficult to do it in January. Now, a lot of people are talking about if they could have another January like last year, where they brought in Rashford and Asensio on loan. Obviously, it won't be those two, but something similar along those lines. Also, go back to January's. Certain young lad called Rogers came in for just £8 million from Middlesbrough. So, if it's possible, and I don't at this point have names to give you in
Sure.
regard to that, but if they could do something similar along those lines, then you never know as far as that's concerned. The rumours and the strong rumours are the 19-year-old lad from Jeremio Allison, linked with the January move, could provide some depth in there. Igor
Yeah.
Thiago, previously linked with him, although whether that carries on into January, that's not guaranteed without players leaving the club. And I struggle to pronounce this guy's name. Miguel Ureguizar, central midfielder. Mentioned that one does the rounds on fan rumor threads as a potential addition in midfield, but I think it's going to be minimal. But if anybody does come in, it will be significant, and I
Yeah,
think
I
that's
did.
that's the
I
idea.
did read that the Allison deal for the young 19-year-old Brazilian winger is that the same one I'm
That's the
thinking
one.
of?
Yeah,
I heard that's already a done deal, so I think he will come in to add some depth, will he, attacking wise? I could be wrong.
we'll have to wait and see.
We shall
But
see.
yeah,
Okay.
but
I
but
mean,
but
I think Villa are like in defence personally. I think if you added a defender, it might
well,
help.
they are at the
But
moment. I mean, if you think both Pau Torres and Tyrone Mings are out injured, Diego Carlos, who they sent out on loan, uh, could come back. I don't think Villa fans would actually want to see that. Quite frankly, they're quite happy that he's out on loan. What they don't have is strength in depth at right back. It's either Matty Cash or Ezri Konsa moves over to right back and they bring in another defender. Left back, it's easy. You swap Digne for Matson and whoever Emery wants to play on any given day is who plays there. Right back, it's a different story. It's either Matty Cash or nobody. So either bringing in another defender so Konsa could move over to right back or another right back, that would be ideal.
Okay, well that's pretty comprehensive from Ben. I mean, I'm gonna bring in another. It sounds a bit negative, but it might not always be. So I'm going to talk about like players you might want to see going out of the club in this transfer window. Then there is a name for Aston Villa, and it does link into another team that's supported within the panel today. I think he hasn't managed to get a place in the squad, and that's Harvey Elliott. So
Hmm.
I'll throw to you actually at this moment, Enton, because obviously you are a Liverpool fan. What do you think Villa slash Liverpool should do about the Harvey Elliott quandary, as it were?
Well, it's the difficult situation for him now is that he's got two managers that don't really want him, and I think that's it's not worked out as Emery thought it would for him at Villa. It's in the papers, it's everywhere that Slot he doesn't fit in his system. So I'm unsure where he can go. To be honest, I think if you look at the room, or if you've listened or read the rumor mills or the transfer news for all clubs, there's hardly anybody that he's um, been
Well,
referenced
he
to.
can't play for another club,
We can't now.
so
Like,
so
Yeah,
he
his
can't play.
that's
choices
the
Can't
thing.
are.
play as
Yeah.
in Europe. I mean, so obviously this
Okay.
oh, he can go out in Europe, can't he? Is that right?
I don't think he can actually. I've
Ah,
had a look in it. He can't play in another competition, so uh, I
right.
think
Okay.
it's either he
Okay.
stays and tries to fight for some minutes at Villa, or he comes back and tries to strengthen the
Yeah.
bench at Liverpool. I think those are his options. I mean,
And
what's his best
it's
option?
difficult
Because
for him,
they're
isn't it?
both bad.
I think it's very difficult for him as well because obviously it was like an opportunity for him to get some first team football, get some minutes, get some games under his belt. Um, so yeah, I think he what they say in limbo now, isn't he?
I think where he's been unlucky is that coming into Villa, I mean, let's not forget he actually did score Villa's first goal of the entire season, which was looking pretty desperate at one stage. He got the goal at Brentford, and we thought now we're off and running. But where he's been unlucky is the unexpected, consistent form of the likes of Emi Buendia, who we thought was done and dusted at Aston Villa. So it gets to the point where Buendia has got the shirt. Also, coupling the fact that even though he's injured at the moment, Ross Barkley has always come in and done a job, and the midfield is so settled in terms of the players that Emery is using. Elliott's just not at the top of his list uh, if he wants to make changes. Having said that, I think he's going to be more wanted, although not fantastically wanted, by Unai Emery than he is Arne Slot. I think Emery will still look towards Harvey Elliott potentially when the Europa League resumes. There's an FA Cup tie coming at Spurs in January. I think Villa will make wholesale changes for that. So he's going to get his opportunity at some point to impress Unai Emery. And as we've seen with the likes of Emery Buendia, is that if you can impress Unai Emery and you can put some performances in, you will keep the shirt. So it's not hopeless yet as far as Harvey Elliott is concerned. He's got more of a chance of getting in to the team at Villa than he has at Liverpool, and those are his only two options at the moment: Villa and Liverpool.
I think that is the case. I mean, Kim, there was some talk amongst our group that he needs to get minutes to get an England place, but Harvey Elliott's not going to the
He's
World
not
Cup,
going to the
is
World
he?
Cup now. No,
No.
no.
Yeah.
I mean,
No,
what do you think, Kim? Is there any hope for Harvey Elliott this season?
I will swap him for Pumas.
Oh, right, yes, of course. You've got one of Liverpool's players there. Yeah, so well. Let's go to Birmingham City then, because that leads us into there. So you're suggesting that Lewis Kumas, um, as the player you'd like to see maybe go out. So what, he just hasn't fit into the squad, or he's showing immaturity? What is it that means that he hasn't
It's a
got a
difficult
place?
one. He hasn't had that much game time, but when he has come on, he shows plenty of pace. But then there's limitations. He gets knocked off the ball quite easily. You wonder whether he really knows when to cross the ball. And I just think he's struggling a bit. And I wouldn't be surprised if his loan is cut short and he goes back to Liverpool when the window opens. Because at the moment, with Demari Gray out, Pumas is nowhere near the standard of Demari Gray,
Yeah, well, I mean, Damari Gray
unfortunately.
is a seasoned vet, and also the interesting thing is when Harvey Elliott went out on loan in the Championship, he did get sort of match hardened. He looked more of a physical specimen. He had a good loan spell at Blackburn and stuff, but Kumas just hasn't hit the mark then at Birmingham.
No, not so far. I mean, I'm pretty sure he'll be playing tonight against Southampton because obviously Gray's out with some sort of soft tissue injury. It will be interesting to see how he does. I mean, it's basically him or Pesci Anderson for that left-hand side place. So I'll be interested to see what Chris Davies does this evening.
Yeah, so 4 or 5 weeks ago, we're absolutely on the cusp of a wave at Birmingham. They're winning by scoring 4 goals every week. Everybody's enthusiastic. They announce a new stadium. There's clearly ambition, but it has slowed down massively over the Christmas period. Where do they need to add, a bit of magic, if you like, to get things reignited? What do you think?
Yeah, well, there's certainly rumours about players going out. One has popped up in the last few days about Kyogo going back to Celtic, and also a deal that didn't happen in the summer was Lyndon Dykes to Hibs. However, if both of those or even one of those happen, there's got to be players coming in because otherwise that leaves us with Stansfield and Dux. And there's no way on earth the board are going to let two strikers go out without replacement.
Well, I have seen that
Um,
you're heavily linked to Shea Adams, but apparently um,
again,
they won't let him come back from Torino. Yeah, exactly.
yeah,
He always crops up, doesn't he? Because he did in the summer. I mean, Ben, you saw Birmingham play at the only a couple of days ago. Where did you see the gaps, as it were? What does Chris Davies need in order to shuffle his pack, as it were?
I think they need a midfield general. Personally, I think they need
mm,
somebody
yeah,
who's going to get the game by the scruff of the neck in the middle of the park and actually take charge out there. Now, if you've got that, there isn't a great deal between your home and away form if you've got somebody out on the
yeah.
field doing that. And I just felt watching them on Boxing Day that they were a bit passive and they weren't completely at it, and I wasn't on the edge of my seat. I got criticised for that by Blues fans on social media, saying, "What? We were brilliant on Boxing Day. We were unlucky." Well, that's fine. That's your opinion. I don't happen to agree with it. It's a game that they would have won 3-4-0 a month ago, but they're not
Yeah,
at the moment,
yeah,
and
Well, Chris Davies did
that's
think
that's
that,
what they
didn't he?
need
He
to do.
did see that. He thought that
Well,
you you played really
well,
well.
he that's fine. That's his opinion. I don't agree with it, and that's
Mm,
and there are no wrongs
absolutely.
or rights here. It's just what people see
Mm.
while they're watching them. That they created enough to have won the game, but who had the chances? Jack Robinson.
yeah,
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 That's
yeah.
that's the
yeah,
that's
yeah.
the
I mean,
point. Jack
yeah,
Robinson actually got the goal. It's actually a controversial goal. I think if it was the Premier League, VAR might have found a foul and a handball in there, but thankfully for Blues, that wasn't the case. Great effort from the edge of the box, which is tipped over the bar, and he gets the header in stoppage time, which hits the crossbar. Who else? We're talking about a centre half here. There was nobody else there.
Yeah, fair
yeah. There
enough.
were
Yeah, so
plenty of attempts, but they just weren't close enough. And as they say, a miss is as good as a mile, isn't it? So
Yeah.
yeah,
if you're not being accurate enough, I think we're missing We're going to miss Jamari Gray. We're missing Alex Cochrane because they were both strengths we've got on the left-hand side,
Yeah.
and that is where the weakness is.
It's different. It's different, Kim, because it's the Premier League. But the example I'm going to give you here is look at the difference somebody like Granit Xhaka has made at Sunderland, right?
Yeah.
If you can find somebody like that who is going to stamp their mark all over this team and that everything goes through them, I think you're going to see Blues improve drastically. Who that is, I've no idea. Who they could find to be that, I don't know.
What? It's interesting you say that, because I'm just literally going to throw that question to Enton, in fact, because, is there someone, Enton, you think that is currently not getting minutes maybe for a Premier League side that could go and do that job of taking responsibility on the pitch for Birmingham City? I mean, it's all speculation. The transfer window doesn't open until next week. So, I mean, is there a name you can pluck out that could go and help Birmingham City cement their place?
I honestly, I've been trying to rack my brains earlier on to think that, obviously, coming into the Championship and the West Midlands clubs, and I'm trying to work out who from the Premier League are not getting games, who from in the Championship that would be able to come into Birmingham and hit the ground running. I'm honestly lost. I can't think of any. The only thing I was thinking of was, what have Birmingham got coming up? Who are they signposting that this is the next star, or these young guys? They're up and coming. They've been noted. They've been watched. Can they get an opportunity to go in? Or then looking around for the experienced players like a Xhaka who's come into Sunderland and just like he's never left. So
it's hard to ask a youngster, though, to come in and do that job, isn't it? I mean, I know there are examples. If you look at someone like West Ham, they're asking Potts to do that, and I think it's a bit harsh on the lad, actually, asking him to do all that work and take that much responsibility. Like Ben suggested, they really want to go, I think, in looking at that mid-table range in the Premier League and say, like, look, he's not getting a game, any chance, but I think we're all a bit stumped as to who that might be. So it'll be interesting to see when the transfer rumour mill starts whether there are any names.
Well, there is a free agent doing the rounds, and this takes us back to the summer, because a colleague of ours who has his own Instagram and TikTok and does strange things in train toilets suggested that West Brom were going to sign Dele Alli. And on another show that I did, we had a lot of fun with this, right? Yes. And because there was no sign of Dele Alli, but there is Dele Alli, who and I've literally just put plausible targets for Birmingham City into AI on my phone, and Dele Alli was one of the first names that popped up. So
that's not a terrible suggestion, actually, because he offers a bit
suggestion.
The only issue is whether he's in the right headspace, I suppose. But
there you go.
That's not for us to decide, is it?
Is he fit? Is he in the mindset? It's psychological. His DNA is it still there?
That was the question I asked in August about West Brom. Why would he go there for the same reasons? And he turns out he didn't. People were putting two and two together with Ryan Mason, thinking the Spurs connection would tempt him towards West Brom. But Chris Davies has a Spurs connection as well, going way back. So there is possibly something you could say in regards to that. But they just need somebody who will be Mr. Birmingham City out on the field, and I don't know who it is, but I think it would improve them immeasurably.
Well, as a true professional, which you always are, Ben, you have segued us beautifully into West Brom. So we're going to take a quick break there, and when we return, let's have a little talk about Ryan Mason and what he can do to turn things around at West Brom.
BHBN Radio has been going since 1952. It is run entirely by volunteers 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. Right now, BHBN needs friends like you to ensure it can broadcast to hospitals, care homes and into the community for many more years to come. You can help by donating through our Just GoFundMe account. It's easy. Simply go to our website, bhbn.net, scan our GoFundMe QR code, and in a few clicks, you can help us out. If you're a taxpayer, you can give 25% more through gift aid at no extra cost to you.
BHBN Radio.
Welcome back to A Window of Opportunity. I'm Ed Mackay. I'm joined by Enton Barefoot, Kim Smith, and Ben Ellis, and we're talking about the West Midlands teams and how they can utilise this January transfer window to maybe secure their place or maybe shoot for the stars. So we've covered Villa and we've covered Birmingham, and we're going to move on now to West Brom because we have talked on our previous show the Monday after. If you want to catch that, go to our YouTube channel, or you can of course look at us on Insta. We do think Ryan Mason's under a little bit of pressure now. They're not getting results. And I think that they, of all the four West Midlands clubs, maybe in the worst position in terms of the finances that are going to be made available to their manager in January. I'll come first to you, Ben. Where do we see West Brom's transfer window? Are they going to do any business?
The problem is you're not looking at bringing in players to improve a position in the league. You're looking at bringing in players to try, at the moment, to try and save the manager's job, and that's the difficulty that Ryan Mason has. The same search that I put in previously for Birmingham City has come up with Dele Alli as a link to West Bromwich Albion, but this is a quote from Football Transfer League. West Brom are also monitoring free agent players like Dele Alli, and this is for you, Mr. Rob Richards, if you're watching. Although that link's reliability is modest because it came from Rob Richards.
I think he was sure of it in the summer, wasn't he?
But that's what it says. But the problem is,
That's
in a
the
lot of
market
areas,
they're shopping in, isn't it?
the market they're shopping in, they sold a lot of players who are seasoned championship pros in the summer that went off to the likes of Ipswich and Southampton and Portsmouth, and they haven't really replaced them. You've got a centre forward in Daryl Dickey who is made of glass and is always getting injured, so there's no reliability there as far as that's concerned. You've got flair through the likes of Mikey Johnston and Isaac Price, but if they go off the boil, West Brom go very stale very quickly. That's certainly been the case with Isaac Price in the last few weeks, and they can't rely on the goalkeeper, whoever's between the sticks as well, and they've changed that a few times over the course of the season. So they're looking at. I'm sorry to say this. I know the points are tight. It's quite concertinaed in the middle of the championship. They're looking at players to strengthen for a relegation battle, and that's the concern.
Well, Enton, I mean, I did do a search for possible transfers when I was researching the show for West Brom. Do you know what? The only talk I could find was who they could get to replace Ryan Mason. Now we know that online
Yeah.
fans can be a little
Yeah.
bit toxic and stuff, but I mean, is that a realistic case? Is that what might happen? Could they bomb Ryan Mason out and look to bring in somebody who will steady the ship in January? Enton, I mean, how do you see it? Is Ryan Mason under that much pressure?
You can clip this. I can't see him lasting till the end of January.
Right. Okay.
I think he's on the way out.
Dead man walking.
Yeah. There's nothing. If you look at the results and where West Brom hierarchy think they should be, or the talk at the beginning of the season where they wanted, the objectives, is not the objectives are not being met, and he's again. Most managers are unfortunate with injuries and players and whatever goes on inside a club. I can't see him lasting till the end of January.
And we mentioned on the Monday after the excuses are coming from Ryan Mason now. Now, a few of the things that he was complaining about, he's got a point. There should have been a red card for an elbow on Callum Styles in the game at home to Bristol City on Boxing Day. But now they play QPR, who there's been a quick turnaround in the fixtures from away to home. They were dreadful in the away game at QPR about 3 weeks ago. If QPR score first in this game, it might not even get to January as far as that's concerned. We're still in
This is
December.
exactly what I was just
So
about to say, actually,
so
Ben.
it's a precarious position.
I think things could turn a bit nasty by half time if QPR are winning. Actually, I
Mm.
mean, Kim, you've seen West Brom play live recently. Obviously, it was quite
Mm.
evenly matched, really, during the game in the
Yeah,
90 minutes
yeah.
between Birmingham, wasn't it? But I think Chris Davies seems to be a lot more assured in what he's delivering on the pitch and what he's saying to the media. Ryan Mason, he sounds a bit desperate.
Yeah, and also, of course, Chris Davies has got a season's experience on Ryan Mason.
Yes.
He had last season in League One, albeit, you know, you could say it was a very easy season, although it wasn't. You've still got to win all those games before you. But he has got that season's experience over Ryan Mason, and he does seem to be struggling. I mean, just to compound their problems, when I was just having a quick look up for what's going on at West Brom, it sounds like they're going to lose Toby Collier back to Man
Yes.
United, and they're quite light on players anyway. They're linked with a couple of guys from Rangers who I must admit I don't know anything about because I don't keep much of an eye on the SPL, I'm afraid. Bailey Rice and Glenn Kamara, and a guy from Sunderland who's not getting in their team at the moment, Dan Neil. But as they're already saying, there isn't much money in the pot, and when there isn't much money in the pot anyway, if you don't spend that little bit you've got wisely, you're in trouble. And then he has got players who who are decent players, but they're injured. I mean, he's got the likes of Christian Bielik, who obviously I know well from Blues. He's one of these sort of multi-purpose players. You can put him in as defence, you can put him in as midfield, but he's injured, so so he's no use to the squad at the moment. And I think they've got like Blues, they've got a fairly extensive injury list at the moment. But yeah, I have to say, we. West Brom and Blues are very similar in terms of inconsistency, but I think I worry more about West Brom.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Definitely, yeah, I'd agree with
Also, what doesn't help teams in the championship now is the system has changed in that there is no specific loan window anymore. What used to happen was you'd have the January
Yeah,
transfer window, it would close, and then for about a week the loan window would open. Now, what happens
Yeah,
generally is a lot of young players are sent out on loan from Premier League clubs once the transfer window is closed. Because they don't need them anymore because of the signings Premier League clubs have made, and then they can trickle down throughout the pyramid. You've now got to make your loan signings in the window
during the
itself,
transfer window.
and that makes it even harder.
Yeah,
yeah,
absolutely. No, I do think that loan window did used to provide a really um, sort of almost like the opportunity to plaster over the cracks, didn't it?
Yeah.
Because
yeah.
Premier League teams knew then what they had for their team and their bench, and they were like, "Oh, you're surplus to requirements. Go and
Mm,
get 6 months in the
mm,
Championship." But
But
you've got to
also as
do that
well,
business now, which means you're competing against bigger clubs
mm,
all the time.
but five
Sorry.
subs has changed it as well because
Yeah.
you've got more chance of getting on if you're in the 18 in the Premier League. So why would I want to move down
Now I'll stick around and see if I can
a
get
league
some
or two?
Europa League minutes, for example.
Yeah, exactly. So it's become a lot harder, which means you are pretty much stuck with, and in West Brom's case, you're going to have to bring players in from the academy, and that's a toss of a coin.
That usually leads to inconsistency rather
Mm.
than shores things up,
Mm,
doesn't it? Yeah. Well,
yeah.
we'll leave it
And
there for
also,
West Brom.
yeah.
Oh, go on, Kim. Go on.
No,
Finish
no.
us off.
What I was going to say, just a general comment about this change to the loan window. That's actually not doing young players any favours because they're going to end up stuck in their clubs in the stiffs,
Yep.
basically, when they could be going out to Championship or League One and actually getting some really, really valuable experience. So I hope that's something they have another look at.
Yes, I agree with
Yeah,
that.
I totally agree. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
spot on.
We'll leave it there on West Brom. We're going to go to a quick break. When we come back, we're gonna go down to the mire and we're going to talk about Wolverhampton Wanderers.
BHBN Radio has been going since 1952. It is run entirely by volunteers 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. Right now, BHBN needs friends like you to ensure it can broadcast to hospitals, care homes, and into the community for many more years to come. You can help by donating through our Just GoFundMe account. It's easy. Simply go to our website, bhbn.net, scan our GoFundMe QR code, and in a few clicks, you can help us out. If you're a taxpayer, you can give 25% more through gift aid at no extra cost to you.
BHBN Radio.
Welcome back to a window of opportunity from BHBN Sports team, and we have one last West Midlands team to talk about, and it is Wolves. Now, I think Wolves are an interesting sort of case study, as you will, because I think they've gone early, in as much as I think they've brought in their manager with a view to planning for next season already, and I wonder if they have gone a bit too early on that front,
Well,
but January gives
there,
them an opportunity to at least make some changes, although they are the team that are linked with a lot of transfer rumours, funnily
yeah.
enough. So it'll
Well,
be interesting to know. They've changed some of the directorships as well recently in the last couple of weeks as well. So it's a really strange sort of jigsaw puzzle at Wolves at the moment. Ben,
mm,
go on. What were
Yeah.
you going to say?
yeah.
Sorry.
Well, there's been stories saying that West Ham might be having buyer's remorse
Nice.
over Nuno. There are similar stories involving Rob Edwards, which yep,
Yep.
there you go.
Yeah.
Wolves eyeing up potential Cardiff City raid is
Yeah.
what Kim was showing on
Yeah.
the screen there.
Yeah.
I've been looking at Wolves, and in all honesty, plotting where they need improvements. I think they need a new goalkeeper. They need four new defenders, four new midfielders, and two strikers.
Yeah.
It's so funny you say that
Yeah.
though, because funnily enough, West Ham are linked with bringing in Strand Larsen. You think, well, if they lose a striker, I mean, I don't think Strand Larsen's the answer. I mean, if he is the answer, I don't know what the question is. I
Take,
don't rate him personally.
honestly, take the money. Newcastle
Yeah.
were willing to part with £60 million in desperation once they'd lost Isak
Yeah.
to try and get Strand Larsen in, and that looks like, with the benefit of hindsight, that looks like a ludicrous suggestion now.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
if they won't get anything like that amount of money, but they could get 35 to 40, and if they could bank that money in the Championship and bankroll an attempt at trying to come back, I'd consider taking it.
What do you think, Enton? Is there a chance for Strand Larsen to make a Premier League move and maybe
I wouldn't be.
Wolves
Yeah,
do a little bit of...
wouldn't be surprised. Again, for that, I was eye-opening when that rumor will have £60 million for him for Newcastle. I was like, what is going on? Is when you think of like a strikers that cost money, and then you've got 60 million being touted for him, it's like, okay, it's getting a bit crazy out there. But again, Wolves, the difficulty Wolves face once they go down, it's then the level of players that they're going to be able to try to attract, because they're going to be in that limbo. Like who wants to go and play in the Championship at a level where to go back to winning, to then come back to the Premier League within a football season.
They're linked with an MLS striker called Sam Surridge.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I believe he has been looked at by a few Championship teams previously. So this is where I thought maybe the planning was in place. They've got a promotion specialist in Rob Edwards. They're looking at a striker from the MLS who would be maybe suited to the Championship. I thought that was the route they were going down. But now Kim's just revealed to me that maybe they're going to turn their back on Rob
But they've
Edwards.
got
So
to
who
pick the
knows?
style of play as well, haven't they? Once they go down into the Championship for the next season, they've got to change their way of playing, because it's very. I know that they don't want to lose the games in the Premier League, and I think they don't want to go down to heavy defeats. but the mindset's got to change once they're going down. So once that's the summer, they have the summer, they go back into pre-season. Whether the manager's still there or not, I don't know. But then they've got to have targets, I suppose. But it's who do you attract to go to the championship?
Yeah, well, they are linked with a number of players. I've got a list here. Calvin Phillips from Man City, who I don't think's kicked a ball for 2 years. Uh, Terem Moffi from Nice, who I have to admit I don't know anything about. Caio Jorge from Cruzeiro, and one which I do think is realistic, and I've heard in commentaries, is Adama Traore from Fulham.
Okay,
Maybe
Fulham,
getting back to
Oh,
see out
yeah,
the
to go
season.
back. Yeah.
Yeah, what do you think of that,
Yeah.
Kim? Would he make a difference?
Well, Adama Traore, of course, he's ex-Wolves, and the guy's an absolute beast, and he's got to make a difference to them, further towards the back of the pack. Because I remember him when he played at Wolves. But I mean, now you look at other Premier League teams, and there are so many ex-Wolves players that have been sold on by the board and then not adequately replaced. And when you look at that, you can see where Wolves' problems lie.
That's the issue.
Yes,
Absolutely,
it
that
is.
Yeah,
has been the issue, and I think it's been successive managers' criticism.
yeah,
I did feel for Vitor Pereira because I thought he did do sterling work last year in turning
yeah,
it round
yeah,
and building something. He got the fans on side, and then he got his two best players taken away from him, and they weren't replaced. And you think, well, that's so crazy because you are literally
yeah,
tying his hands behind his back. I accept that he lost his way as well, with the fans, as he just lost it, didn't he? We could see
yeah,
towards
yeah,
even October, we just knew the writing was on the wall. I mean, Ben and I have spoken about this a few times in terms of how toxic it became. And Rob Edwards, one thing I'm going to say is they are playing much better under Rob Edwards. So if they've already got
yeah,
Bosman, I find that a bit crazy because they were
yeah,
they were a minute and a
yeah,
half away from getting a point at Arsenal. They put up a
yeah,
good fight at the back end at Anfield at the weekend. They are fighting
yeah,
for him, but is that fight over then, Ben?
yeah,
Are they going to
Is
get
that
rid of
more of
him?
a
I don't.
survival though?
I don't think they'll get rid of him. I really don't. Because they'd have to pay him for a start,
yeah,
Yeah,
where money
yeah,
is
because he
tight.
left Middlesbrough. Yeah,
They've already paid the compensation for
that's
Middlesbrough for
yeah,
getting him out of there.
yeah.
Um, some of the things that you mentioned there, I think a fit and sharp Calvin Phillips, I think is the kind of player we were talking about Birmingham City could do with,
yeah,
or West Brom, quite frankly. Um, we've seen this story with Wolves, Aston Villa when Villa went down 10 years ago. It has gradually got much worse than that in terms of Wolves' record in the Premier League. But Vitor Pereira came in second half of last season, steadied the ship, stopped the rot, got the fans on side, got the team believing. Tim Sherwood did that when he came in at Villa and got them to an FA Cup final. Then in the summer, they sold Delphin Benteke from under him, didn't replace him. He was sacked by the October. Villa went down. I mean, this is all very familiar.
Yeah,
And
you did say that, didn't you, a few weeks
it's all
ago?
very, very familiar. But uh, Villa did actually get 17 points that season. It's always one with me because it's the season that Leicester won the league, and everybody keeps talking about that wonderful miracle season. I'm like, no, it's the worst season I've ever endured in my entire life, and I don't ever want to think
Well,
about
it's
it
funny
again.
you say that
yeah,
because I'm sure Enton will agree with me. As somebody who supports a team in the traditional top six, I couldn't
So,
believe what I was seeing because nobody turned up.
mm,
No.
yeah.
Yeah. Well,
But
Thing is,
okay. Well, we've got we.
let me ask you one more question before we obviously close the door on this. If a fit Calvin Phillips is available and his mindset is right and he goes to Wolves, say he goes into there, his mindset's right, he's ready to work, he's ready to put the hard work in. It could be the new Granit Xhaka, isn't it? If he does that, because he's that good when
My
he's got
answer
when
is
he's
he's not fit, and that's not going to be the answer. But we're going to
fit.
have to leave it there because the show is now coming to an end. Thank you very much to Enton, Kim, and Ben. I've been Ed Mackay. This has been a window of opportunity. We'll see you again next week for more transfer talk.